Oh, sevens, everyone. My name is ForestStreetPete. I'm a Star Citizen content creator and live streamer over on TikTok and Twitch, and I have a need for speed, a very specific one. This video is episode 1 of a series I'm calling Lowfly Anatomy, a collection of videos that I hope to serve as a handbook for new pilots that are entering the world of Lowfly. Today we're going to be talking about speed. For today's video, and really all the videos of this series, we're going to be talking about one specific style of low flying known as proximity flying. The goal of proximity flying is to get as low to the ground as possible while maintaining a constant speed and a relatively constant heading. In order for low flyers to maintain a low altitude while avoiding obstacles, we need our ships to be as maneuverable as possible. And in order for our ships to be as maneuverable as possible, we need to understand the relationship between maneuverability and your ship's speed. The easiest way to do that is to show you a simplified visual representation of the speed envelope. What we're seeing here is an anvil arrow flying over the surface of a deer at 220 meters per second. Around the ship, you can see a perfect circle. This circle represents the maximum speed we're capable of achieving in all of these directions. That means with my main thruster, I can go forwards at 220 meters per second, and even with just the maneuvering thrusters, I can push my ship off the laterals, right, left, up, and down at 220 meters per second. With the anvil arrow in this specific atmosphere, we can even fly backwards at 220. So really what you're seeing is a perfect sphere representing the full power of each of these directions of flight. So with our speed limited at 220, we have a perfect balance between our main thrusters as well as our maneuvering thrusters. What this means for me as a low flyer is that I can confidently do different tricks and maneuvers that may require me to shift my power from my main thrusters to my maneuvering thrusters without losing a single unit of speed if done correctly. Alright, let's toggle the speed limiter off and let the anvil arrow reach its max speed. On this planet, it's somewhere around 1100 meters per second. The power dynamic between the main thrusters and maneuvering thrusters is shifting. As you can see, our circle has turned into an oval with the longest end out front. Now this makes sense because every ship's main thruster is going to be its strongest. This means if we're flying at these speeds and we decide to shift our nose and carry our momentum using our lateral thrusters, what you'll notice is a drastic slowdown as well as your ship's nose wanting to pull back towards the front. Right now, this is CIG's best attempt at simulating some semblance of aerodynamics. Now, the speed envelope I showed you earlier is not universal. Depending on the atmospheric makeup of the planet as well as the ship that you've chosen to fly, the numbers, sizes, and shapes of these circles are going to be drastically different. An anvil arrow on the surface of Ignis can comfortably hit 300 meters per second while perfectly staying within its speed envelope, and an Idris, nose forward, can barely reach 220 even with full boost. And on the surface of a planet like Pyro 1, where the atmosphere is extremely thick, the anvil arrow would have to drop its speeds to 150, 140 just to maintain that consistency that the speed envelope provides. So why has 220 meters per second become the unofficial standard for proximity flyers? And why even have a standard if these variables can change so drastically? To put it simply, 220 allows the most amount of ships to stay within their speed envelope on the planets that are most often flown by low flyers. Having an established speed also makes it easier to fly in groups, as pilots can join each other, match speed without even communicating. New low flyers will often find it difficult to change and set their speed, so I'm going to show you my joystick keybinds to help you out. Open up the menu and head to Key Bindings. Find your joystick and select Advanced Controls Customization. Under Flight Movement, scroll down until you find Speed Limiter Increase and Decrease Hold. You want to use the hold option as it allows you to change your speed by smaller increments. I also have the speed limiter enable disable toggle, and all of these are set to a hat switch on my left VKB joystick. Using the hat switch makes finding my speed a lot easier, and the ability to toggle the speed limiter off allows me to use my ship's full speed in order to travel to my destination or reduce distance between me and the lead pilot. To make things easy on myself, I often set my speed before I reach my destination. Then I toggle the speed limiter off and use my ship's full speed to reach the destination, and once I'm about to start my run, I re-engage the speed limiter. A lot of pilots prefer low flying at the fastest speeds they can possibly achieve, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong way to low fly. Flying unlim or at speeds outside of the speed envelope can emulate the feeling of flying a fighter jet, as you're primarily using your main thruster and your attitude adjustment, your pitch, roll, and yaw, to change directions instead of your maneuvering thrusters. Now, although I like to fly fast too, I've found that flying within the speed envelope is much more engaging. Utilizing all of your ship's thrusters to make it as maneuverable as possible so you can carve in and out of the terrain, match the maneuvers of the pilot that's flying in front of you, and maintain a 13-meter separation because you have a set speed, for me is much more exciting than pretending to be a fighter jet. I personally think that having these omnidirectional thrusters is what makes flying in Star Citizen feel so unique compared to other flight sims. Again, at the end of the day though, there is no right or wrong way to low fly. I just suggest that you try both. And if you try flying at 220 and it just doesn't feel fast enough, I encourage you, stick with it and get lower. I want to thank you for making it through the video, and for those of you who've been so patient waiting for me to get this series off the ground. We're still refining the process when it comes to these long form videos, so I greatly appreciate it. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, it would mean the world to me if you could give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend that you want to get into low flying. And if you're looking to get into low flying yourself, make sure to join the Discord. There's tons of experienced low fly pilots in there who are willing to answer questions and help you along the learning process. Tune into the live stream at twitch.tv/ForestStreetPete, where I host a group open low-fly event every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, 07s and happy flying.